Yo. Yo. Are we lit? Yo. Are we lit? All right, let's go. Let's rock out, man. Are we lit? All right, let's go. Let's rock out, man. Oh, man. All right, welcome to today's Bible study. I'm sorry, man. I'm always having trouble with this audio stuff, but welcome to today's Bible study. Greetings. You know who it is, your boy KJ, and welcome to episode 5 of Bible study. Today we're going to be going over the book of Job. So we've already went over Exodus, we've already went over Genesis, and I wanted to go to Job because Job is a complementary book to Genesis. And why do I say it's a complementary book to Genesis? It's because of the time frame from which historians think Job was written, and due to the fact that it didn't have the Mosaic laws involved in the book of Job. And I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself right here explaining this. They historians believe that it was written either around the same time of Genesis or right after the same time of Genesis. All right. And as we go through Job, you'll see the dynamics of how this plays into God's sovereignty, which we talked about, or which I talked about in the first episode, or in the first Bible study, which I'm going to reiterate again. And it talks about other things that kind of show you ahead into the things that we're going to study the further we go along inside of the Bible. Now, I want to say Genesis was written between 4004 to 1900 BC. I know that's like a broad spectrum of years, but some dwindling it down about 2000 to 1500 BC. And again, that's due to it having the lack of the Mosaic laws inside of it, which we went through in Exodus. So I wanted to revert back, go back to Job, go over Job after we did Exodus, and then to follow the next Bible study, we should be jumping into Deuteronomy and Leviticus. All right. And I'm going to probably do both of those in tandem because it's going to be a lot of the same things, the same process over and over and over and over and over again. Some of the same things reiterated over between Leviticus and Deuteronomy. But back to Job, or actually back to this Bible study. So, of course, you know, if you've been to this Bible study, of course, you know that in this Bible study, the type of Bible study that I do, we do not try to read ahead. We earn what we get. So, and we read the Bible the same way we read any other book. So, if it's the red car goes through the green light, that's how we're going to read it. The red car goes through the green light. We're not going to put nothing in it. We're only going to take the truth up out of it. And that way, instead of us putting our truth and our theologies and our context and eisegeting the text and putting all these things into the Bible, we let the Bible give the truth to us. All right. And I don't really, I'll do a little bit of exposition of the verses so I can kind of explain the things that I'm going over in the Bible study. Not so much of exegeting, so I won't be exegeting, putting a bunch of context of it into it, but I will be doing just a little bit of, well, actually, I got that back. I won't be doing much of an exposition, but I'll be doing some exegeting, giving you the context of the Bible verses. Excuse me. And one thing we're going to know, the one thing about God's truth is God is sovereign. And we're going to learn about the sovereignty in this book and we can hold on to this sovereignty as we go forward through the rest of our lives, not only just in Bible study, but as we go to church, as we live our life, we'll understand how God is sovereign and we are not. All right. I know a lot of people think that and I'm going off topic here, but I know a lot of people think that they have the greatest moral compass of all time, right? And we think that, and we have a lot of self righteousness in our heart, and we think that because we do good deeds, that we in the right part of things, we're on the right side of history. But God shows us that He is the only sovereign entity in life, all right? And just because we think we're doing something good, don't mean that we're doing nothing good. So remember that God is sovereign. We're not. God is omnipotent. God is omnipresent. He's all. He's everything. He's the beginning and the Alpha and Omega, and we are not. All right, we're just His creation, and He is the Creator. So with all that being said, we're gonna be starting off in Genesis 1. I mean, Job 1. All right. So let's go over this. And hopefully I don't have trouble reading it like I did last time. And I make sure I have all my notes that I was it I had all over the place last week, but I made sure that I had my notes. I put all my notes together, and I'm gonna just smile and say we know why. Thank you. But anyways, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 she asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all men of the east. And his son went and feasted in their house every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that one of my sons have sinned and have cursed God in their hearts." Thus did Job continually. Now, as you can see already in the beginning, that Job is doing sacrifices, right? In Genesis, I can't remember if it was any sacrifices in Genesis, but in Exodus, you've seen that they started doing, God started having them do the sacrifice and all this other stuff. But Job was doing it. And again, we think this book was written before Exodus, all right? And it was possibly written by Moses or Abraham. Not sure. All right, here we go. Job 1:6. Now there was a day when the sons of God, came to the present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and walking up and down it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one who feareth God and eschewed evil? And Satan answered the Lord and said, Thou Job, fear God, for not hast not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? And thou hast blessed the working of his hands, and his substance his increase in all the land. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he had, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in my power. Only upon himself put not forth thy hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Excuse me. All right. So in these six verses, we see that Satan is trying to convince God to kind of take his hands off of Job, saying that he had like this cloth over Job and he was protecting Job, and that if he let him go, that he will fall to temptation, and that he will curse God to his face, and to put some pressure on Job in a sense. All right. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And it came into a message unto Job, and the oxen were plowing, and the ass was feeding beside them. And other sea beings fell upon them, and they took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of thy sword, and only I have escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came along another and said that the fire of God hath fallen from heaven and hath burnt up the sheep and thy servants and consumed them, and I am the only one to have escaped to come tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there was another came another and said that the Chaldeans made out of 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away and slain the servants with the edge of the swords, and I am only the one who escaped to come tell thee. While yet he was speaking, then another came and said that their sons and their daughter were drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, a great wind from the wilderness came and smote the 4 corners of the house and fell upon the young men, and they all are dead. And I'm the only one who escaped to come and tell you. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell upon the ground and worshipped and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. For the Lord gave, and the Lord taketh away. Bless the name of the Lord. And all that Job had sinned not, nor charge God foolishly. All right. So Job loses everything. He loses children, he loses wealth, he loses his health, and yet he still bowed down. He still worshiped God. And the verbiage that he uses is that the Lord giveth and the Lord take away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So he's still blessing the Lord, though all he's going through. All right. So next chapter, Job 2. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to the presence themselves of the Lord, and Satan also came along with them to present himself therefore before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? There is none like him in the east, a perfect and upright man, one who feareth God and escheweth evil, and still holdest fast with his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. Then Satan answered to the Lord and said, skin for skin, yeah, all that a man hath will he give for his life. Put forth thy hand now and touch his bones and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thy hand, but save his life. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his feet unto the crown of his head. And he took into the potsherd to scrape them off withal, and he set among the ashes. And then, okay, here's the part right here. All right, so hold on, let me go these first. So the first part before I get to this next part, right? Before I get to verse 9. For the first part, of course, Satan, we know he approaches God again. And God allows Satan this time, instead of God doing it, God allows Satan to test Job. All right, almost everything except for killing him, right? So, and that lets you know when we talk about God is sovereign, right? When I talk about God is sovereign, that lets us know that God is still sovereign. So, not saying that Satan don't have power, but everything that Satan has and everything that we have come from God. All right. So here's the next part. Then said unto his wife, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. God, dog, lady. But he said unto her, thou hast spoken, one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall not we receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. All right. So as we see, now it doesn't say this in particular. So let me get a little time out. It doesn't say this in particular. And like I said, we have to earn everything we get. But sometimes the people closest to you can be the ones to try to tear you down or try to separate you away from God. All right. Do not allow the people that you love to separate you away from God. And you see what Job's response was. He said, should we only receive good and not receive evil from the Lord. All the blessings that we have, but we don't want to go through the trials and tribulations that God gives us. All right. So, and I understand from a woman's perspective, you lost your children, you lost all your wealth, you lost all your servants, you see your husband losing his health. You just want to just see it all over with. But patience is the answer. Not cursing God, not blaming God, but believing in God that He will see you through. All right. So we got the grief, and we understand that she might have had some grief, but we see that Job's integrity and loyalty to God remained. So, all right, and we see what his response was. All right, so he suffered through all the tests. Well, this test, and he showed us wrong. Now we're gonna go. We'll fast forward a few chapters, and we're gonna go to his friends. All right, so we're going to be going over to Job 4, and we're going to look at how his friends respond. Now, hopefully, like I always said before, we time back in now. Hopefully, like I've said before, that you've already read this after the last Bible study. I said, hey, make sure you read Job, make sure you finish read Exodus and read Job, read ahead. So if you haven't read it, then after this Bible study, make sure you read it so you get the full context of this book. All right, this is one of the best books in the Bible. All right. So here we go. And Eliphaz, sorry. The tenement said, if we essay to commune with thee without being grieved, but who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Thy words have upholden him that was fallen, and thou hast strengthened thy feeble knees. But now it has come upon thee, and thou faintest, and touches thee, and thou art troubled. Is not this thy fear, thy confidence, thy hope, and thy uprightness of ways? Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished, being innocent, or whoever righteous was cut off. Even as I have seen that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. So basically, his friend Eliphaz, how do we say his name? Eliphaz is basically saying like, you're suffering, you must have sinned, right? So there, he's basically like misinterpreting God, and he's telling Job like, you must have done something. You had to have done something for all this to happen to you, because whoever perished that was innocent, and who was ever cut off that was upright, right? So, all right, now we're going to go to his second friend in Job 7. All right, so this is his second friend. Second friend's name is Bildad. So all his three friends are with him now. Let me give you a little backstory. All of the three friends are with him now, and each one of his friends is taking turns, kind of like trying to figure out why Job going through all this. So Job 7:1, is there not an appointed time for a man upon earth? Are not his days also like the days of the hireling? Also a servant earnestly desired thy shadow, and as I hurriedly looketh for a reward of his work. So I made him possess as much of vanity and wearisome nights as appointed to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I arise, and that the night be gone? And I am full of tossing to and fro upon the dawning of the earth. My flesh is clothed with worms and clods of dust, and my skin is broken and become loathsome. My days are swifter than the weaver's shuttle, and are spent without hope. And my life is in the wind. My eyes shall no more see good. My eyes, the eye of him has seen me, shall see me no more. Thy eyes are upon me, and I am not. As a cloud is consumed and vanished away, so he has goeth up so the grave shall come upon no more. He shall return no more to his house, neither shall his place know him anymore. Therefore, I will not refrain from my mouth. I will not speak in anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. I am a sea or a well. Thou settest a watch over me. When I say, my bed shall comfort me, my couch shall ease my complaints. Then thou scarest me with dreams, and terrify me with vision. My soul chooses strangling and death rather than my life. I loathe it. I would not live always. Let me alone, for my days are vanity. All right. And, okay, so that's Job speaking. Then we're gonna go over to Job 8. Okay, now his friend Bildad. Sorry about that. Then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said, how long wilt thou speak these things? And how long shall thy word of thy mouth be like a strong wind? Do God pervert judgment? Doeth Almighty pervert just? If thy children have sinned against him, and thou hast cast them away for their transgressions, if thou wouldest seek unto God betimes, and make thy supplication of the Almighty, if thou wert pure and upright, surely now he awaken thee and make habitation of the righteous prosperous. Thy being was small, yet the latter end shall greatly increase. Now Bildad of all three of his friends is the one going the hardest, that you can see. He's going in. He's talking about him. He's talking about what his kids done did. He's saying that, he's accusing like everybody in the house except for the wife must have sinned. And so they're suffering. So Job is suffering this because of his children and because of his own sins, but mainly because of his children. All right. Now let's go to the next friend. We're going to go to chapter 11. Am I doing good timing right now? Let's see. All right, so this is the last friend so far. All right. And then answered Zophar the Naamite and said, should not the multitudes of thy word be answered? And should a man full of talk be justified? Should thy lies make men hold their peace? And without mockest shall no man make thee ashamed? For thou hast said, my doctrine is pure, and I am clean in thy eyes. But O God would speak and open his lips against thee, and that he would shew thee with the secrets of wisdom, and that there are double to which is that which is. Now know therefore that God exacted of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. So as you can see, and I'm not finished yet, but as you can see, all of Job's friends are going in. And with friends like this, who need enemies, right? So lament is basically saying that God has abandoned him. So you had Elvazaz saying that Job must have did something he couldn't have been all right. He needed to confess his sins. You got B-Dad saying that it must have been him or his kid. Somebody did something. And now you got Lament basically saying that God has abandoned him and he's telling lies and he need to confess his sins. All right. So again, with friends like this, man, who needs enemies, right? All right. Moving on to Job 13. All right, here we go. 13:1. Lo, mine eye has seen all this, and my ear hath heard and understood it. What ye know, the same do I know also. I am not inferior unto you. Surely I speak to you, to the Almighty, and I desire a reason with God. But ye foregoers of lies, ye all are physicians of no value. So this is Job talking back to his friends. He's going back at his friends now. Oh, that you will altogether hold your peace, and this should be your wisdom. Hear now my reason and hearken to the pleadings of my lips. Will ye speak wickedly of God and talk deceitfully for him? Will ye accept his person? Will ye contend for God? Is this good that he should search you out as one man mocketh another, and do ye so mock him? He surely reprove you if ye do secretly accept persons. Shall not his excellency make you afraid, and his dread fall upon you? Your remembrance are like unto ashes, and your body to bodies of clay. Hold your peace, let me alone, that I may speak, and let come unto me what will. So Job is basically saying, hey man, I'm sick of y'all talking all this trash. What would y'all do if y'all was in this situation? Would y'all turn on God? Would y'all, turn y'all backs on God? All right. Wherefore do I take my flesh in my teeth, and I put my life in my hands? Though he slay me, yet I will trust in him. All right. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain my own ways before him. So here's Job saying, like, no matter what happens, I'm going to trust in the Lord. Although his friends are coming at him with all this ammunition. So he got his friends, his wife, his kids are dead. He done lost all his royalties, everything is gone. And now he's got his friends basically blaming him. And he's saying that he will not turn his back on the Lord. All right. He also shall be my savior, and hypocrite shall not come before him. Hear diligently my speech, and for my declaration with your ears. Behold, now I have ordered my cause. I know that I shall be justified. Amen. All right. So now we're going to continue in Job 16, and he's going to give his friends some more feedback. Then Joseph answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable confronters are ye all. Shall vain words have an end with, or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest, man, answerest. Man, I cannot say what word. I also could speak as ye do, if ye so were in my soul steed. I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you. But I will strengthen you with my mouth, and moving from my lips should assuage your grief. Though I speak, my grief is not assuaged, and though I forbear, what I am eased. But now have made me weary, and thus have made me desolate all my company. All right. So Job is he's confronting his friends, and he says that they're a bunch of miserable friends. He can find no comfort in them at whatsoever, and that he feels misunderstood, he feels judged, and he feels abandoned by his friends. Because Job knows that he's did nothing wrong, but yet his friends, who, I know I missed this part at the beginning, but at the beginning they started off comforting him, and then they started turning his back on him. And that's why I say make sure you read the Bible, make sure you read this book. You'll see that they first start questioning, trying to figure out like what is going on, and then they start pointing fingers at it. All right. So let's go to Job 19. Hold on a second. All right. So this chapter right here, this is kind of I'm gonna time out right quick. This is kind of a foreshadowing, right? So you might want to bookmark this chapter, highlight this chapter, because you'll see a lot of this as we get further along in the Bible, right? And this is a very important foreshadowing of what's to come later on in the Bible. Okay. So I'm gonna read the first 6 verses, then I'm gonna skip down to verse 25. All right. So then Job answered and said, how long will ye vex my soul? So now he's talking to God, right? How long will ye vex my soul and break me into pieces with words? And then 10 times have ye reproached me. Ye are not ashamed that ye make yourself strange to me. Oh, my bad. He's talking to his friend. Excuse me. And be it indeed that I have erred, mine error remaineth with myself. if indeed you will magnify yourself against me and plead against me my reproach, know now that God hath overthrown me and hath compassed me with his net. Behold, I cry out of wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no judgment. Has hence he up my way that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness in my paths. All right. But now skipping down to verse, I'm gonna start at 23. All that my words are now written, all that they are printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and laid in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer liveth. Right? Bookmark that. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand in the latter days upon the earth. Make sure you bookmark that. And that after my skin worms destroys this body, yet my flesh shall I see God. Okay. Bookmark these chapters. These verses. Whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. All right. Now I'm highlighting this for a reason. As we go through the Bible and we do more studies, these verses will come in handy later on in the Bible. Okay. And the expression of his faith, saying that his Redeemer will vindicate him. And like I said again, that this is a foreshadowing of things to come. All right. So now I'm about to skip a whole lot of chapters. So make sure you read your chapters on your own. And I'm going to be going to chapter 32. And now Job is going to be talking to God. All right. Let me just do it like this. All right. Boom. So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then when kindled up the wrath of Elihu, the son of Barachel, the Buzite, of the kindred of the Ram, against Job was his wrath kindled because he justified himself rather than God. Hold on, wait a minute. Never mind. I'm ready. I'm serious. Excuse me. My bad, y'all. Also, against the three friends was his wrath kindled because they found no answers and yet they had condemned Job. Now Elihu had waited till Job had spoken because they were all elder than he. When Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men, then his wrath was kindled. And Elihu Barachel, the Buzite, answered and said, I am young, and you are very old. Wherever I was afraid and durst not shew you my opinion. I said days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giving them understanding. Great men are not always wise, neither do they age understand judgment. Neither do the aged understand judgment. Therefore I said, hearken to me, I also will show mine opinion. Behold, I have waited for your words, and I gave you ear to reason, whilst searched out what to say. Yes, yeah, I attended unto you, and behold, there was none of you that convinced Job or that answered his words. Least you should say, we found out wisdom. God trusted him down. God thrusted him down, not man. Now he hath not directed his words against me, neither will I answer him with your speeches. They were amazed, they answered no more, and they left off speaking. When I had waited, for they spake not, but stood still and answered no more. And I said, I will answer also my part. I also will shew mine opinion. For I am full of matter, the spirit within me constraineth me. Behold, my belly is as wine which had no vent. It is ready to burst like new bottles. So Elihu, the new guy, the son of Bashel, how you say the name, is coming in, and he's heard everybody speak their piece. He's heard Job say that he was a righteous man and he don't deserve all this stuff. All right. And he becomes angry for two reasons. One, that Job tried to justify himself rather than God. And two, that Job's friend, because they condemned Job and they had no real answers for why. So he steps in, he's a younger gentleman, and he starts to rebuke Job's friends, right? And tell them about their accusations and how they're wrong with everything that they did. Mm-hmm. So he gives an opinion, and as they accuse Job of sin, and they never actually proved it. So whenever he asked them, they didn't have no answers. And unlike his friends, Elihu did not claim Job committed any hidden sin. Instead, he says Job made another mistake. Job questioning God's justice. All right. So on to Job 33 first. Starting at verse 10. Behold, he findeth occasions against me. He counted me for his enemy. He put my feet in the stocks. He marketh all my paths. Behold, and thou art not just. I will answer thee that God is greater than man. So here's Elihu again, letting Job know that humans cannot demand for God to give an explanation. Again, God is sovereign. We're not. Okay. 33:16. Then he opened the ears of the men and sealed their instructions. That way he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit and his life from perishing by the sword. So not Job. Elihu is giving all the friends some vital correction, right? And he's giving them a new perspective with correction. He's giving them warning, right, so that they don't get destroyed or that they will get destroyed or keep acting that way. And then he's starting to give them some spiritual refinement and let them know. All right. He has chastened also with pain upon his bed, and the multitude of his bones with strong pain, so that his life abhorred bread, and his soul detained dainty meat. His flesh is consumed away that it cannot be seen, and his bones that were seen stick out. Yeah, his soul draweth near unto the grave, and his life to destroyers. If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, one among thousands, to shew unto the man his unrighteousness. So again, we talk about a redeemer, we talk about a messenger, and we also saying that Job is in very, very, very bad shape. Right? Then he is gracious up unto them, saith, deliver from the ongoing down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh shall be fresher than the child's, and he shall return to the days of his youth. He shall pray unto God, and he will be favorable unto him, and he shall see his face with joy, for he will render unto man his righteousness. All right. So Elihu is letting him know that he will be redeemed if he just do these things, right? What's these things? Understand that God is sovereign, and that God is almighty, and that God is omnipotent, and that God will protect him. and that he's and understand that he's not righteous, but the only righteous person is God and Christ. But we don't have Christ yet, so that hasn't came up yet. All right, all right. Job 34. Furthermore, Elihu answered and said, "Hear my words, O ye wise men, and giveth ear unto me, ye that have knowledge. For the ear trieth words as the mouth tasteth meat. Let us choose to us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good." All right. For Job has said, "I am righteous." So Job has said that he's righteous, and God hath taken away my judgment. Shall I lie against my right? My wound is incurable without transgressions. What man is like Job, who drinketh up scorning like water, which goeth in the company with the workers of iniquity, and walketh in the wicked man? For he hath said, if it profited a man nothing, that he should delight himself with God. Remember that. Bookmark that one. Therefore, hearken unto me, man, understanding, far be it from God, that he should do wickedness from the Almighty, and that he should commit iniquity. For the work of a man shall be rendered unto him, for cause every man find according to his ways. Yet surely God will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert judgment. All right. So he's basically saying, like, again, God is omnipotent, God is sovereign. Us as men, them as men, Job and his friends are trying to make it seem like they're the righteous one, like they can do the judging, but God does the judging. All right? And God will not act wickedly, and God reasoning and God ways are higher than men. So we are like we're closer to shrimp in the bottom of the ocean than we are to God. That's basically what he's saying. So we're closer to a starfish in the bottom of the ocean than we are to God. All right, let's go. All right, now we're going to go to Job 38, and this is where God steps in. And this is where it gets like real interesting. This thing catches up. All right. Job 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind and said, who is it that darkened counsel by the words without knowledge? Gird up your loins, boy, like a man. For I will demand thee, and you will answer me. So God is saying, hey, you want to ask me some questions? Here I go in his mystical voice. Where was thou when I laid the foundation of the earth, declare if thou hast understanding? Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations where they're fasting? And who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea doors when thou breaketh forth and it hasn't issued out of the womb, as if it had issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud and the garment thereof, and the thick darkness of the swaddlebang for it, and break upon the decreed place and set bars on the doors. He's basically saying that he shut up the ocean, he stopped the clouds from falling out the sky, he's doing all these things, and said, "Here, hit the rope." I can't say that. Shalt thou come, but not further, and here shall thy proud ways be stayed. Here I go again. How's that? How's that commanded that the morning since the days, and cause the day springer to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and that the wicked may be shaken out of it? Is it turned as clay to seal and stand as a garment? And from the wicked their light is withholden, and from the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, and hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Have thy gates of the death been open of death been open unto thee, or hast thou seen the doors of the shadows of death? Hast thou perceived the breatheth of the earth and declared the knowest all of it? Where is thy way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? So God is basically going over his stats right now, and right now he's 100%. He's shooting 10 for 10 from the field. He can't miss. He can't miss. I mean, he's shooting 10 for 10 for 3 point line, and he can't miss. All right. Job 39. I'm not gonna read every single one of these. I'm gonna just go over a few of these. All right. Know that the time when the wild goats and the rocking bring forth, or canst thou mark when thy hands of calf. Canst thou number the months that are fulfilled, and knowest thou time when thou bring forth? They bow themselves, they bring forth the young ones, they cast out of the sorrows. The young ones are in good liking, they grow up with the corn and go forth and return unto them. Who have sent out the wild ass freed, and who has loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house have I made in the wilderness and barren the land of his dwelling? He scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth the crying of the driver. The range of the mountains is a pasture, and he searches after every green, while the unicorn will be willing to serve thee and abide by thy crib. Canst thou bind up the unicorn with the band of in the furrow, and will harrow the valleys after thee? Wilt thou trust him because they have strength is great, or wilt thou leave thy labor to him? Wilt thou believe him that he will bring home thy seed and gather in the barn? Gavest thou godly wings unto the peacocks, or the wings unto the feathers unto the ostrich? While leaving eggs in the earth and the warmest in the dust, and forgetteth thy foot may crush them, and thy wild beasts may break them. She hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without thee, because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. All right. So God is still going in. Come on now, don't freeze up on me. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and says, shall thou contend with the Almighty, instruct him? He has reproved God, let him answer it. So he already told Job to gird up your loins, my boy. It's about to be alone. So now Job is about to respond. Then Job answered to the Lord and said, behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I may lay mine hand upon my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I will answer yeah twice, but I will proceed no further. And God said, hold on, baby boy. Hold on, bucko. And then God answered and said unto Job out of the whirlwind, he said, nah, my boy, gird up them loins like a man, and I will demand thee and declare unto me. So he still got more for him. Without this now my judgment, without condemn me, that thou mayest be righteous. Hast thou armed like God? You know what I'm saying? Your arm too short to box for God. Or canst thou thunder with thy voice like him? Deck thyself with thy majesty and excellence, and array thyself with the glory and the beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold everyone that is proud and abase him. Look on everyone that is proud and bring him low, and tread down the wicked of their place. Hide them in the dust together and bind their faces in secret. Then will also confess thee that thine own right hand can save them, or can save thee. Behold, now behemoth, which is made of thee, he eat the grass and ass of ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is the navel of his belly. His bones are strong pieces of brass, and his bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He has made him, can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all of the beasts are played in the field. He lieth under the shady of the tree, and converteth to the reeds, and the shady covers with him, and the shadow and the willow brook compass of him about. Behold, he drinketh of the river and has not, He trusteth that he can draw up from the Jordan unto his mouth. He taketh it with the eyes, his nose pierceth through snares. Canst thou draw Leviathan with the hook, or his tongue with the cord of the leadest down? Canst thou put the hook into his nose and bore his jaw through with the thorn? Will he make the supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as the birds? Wilt thou bind him for the maidens? So God is basically saying, like, all these beasts, all these things that I control, you can never control. You can never do what I do. You can't do what I do. All right. So on to Job 42. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know thou canst do with everything, and thou know that can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have uttered that I have understood not things too wonderful for me, which I know not or knew not. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak, and I will demand of thee, and I will declare unto me. I have heard from thee by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye seeth thee. Therefore I abhor myself, and I repent in the dust and the ashes. So now Job is saying, look, God, look, I heard you. I'm sorry. And it was so that after the Lord spake these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, the wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for ye not have spoken of me, which is that is right, as my servant Job had. Therefore, take ye now seven bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer a burnt offering, for my servant Job shall pray for you, and him I will accept, lest I deal with after your folly, and that ye have spoken of me things which is not right, like my servant Job has. So Eliphaz, Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Nemanite went and did according to the Lord's command, and the Lord accepted Job. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job, and when he prayed for his friends, the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. So we know the story. Job will replenish. I'm not going to go through all of these things, but God told the friends what they needed to bring, because God's wrath had them turned up against their friends, because they had said all these things to Job, and they had accused him of all these things, and they were saying that he couldn't be righteous, or God wouldn't have did these things to him. So God was basically about to burn him up. But then Job prayed for his friends, as he did the offering for his friends, and that saved him. So God repented and turned away from what he was going to do. And then God restored twice of his wealth, gave him new children, and gave him a long life. So the message in Job, right? The ultimate message in Job was the vindication of faithfulness. All right, seeing God's sovereignty, right? God rules everything. When life appears chaotic, he's going to make sure, if you glorify him, and if he's your chosen one, he will bring you through anything. All right. So as it says, and I know this is not in the Bible study, so I'm timing out right now. But as he says in Corinthians, my grace is sufficient for you, when he was talking to Paul. And it's the same thing. We see the same thing with Job, right? So faith in suffering. So faith is proven through trials, not comfort. Limits of human wisdom. So I see it all the time, and it just blows my mind how people think that we have the ability to do things that God can do. All right. And I know I'm about to go on a little tangent, so excuse me, but is there life and death in the power of the tongue? Yes. Can we manifest things? No, because if we could just manifest things with the words that we say, people would be manifesting all kind of crazy stuff, right? I would be in here trying to manifest $1 million cash to just drop out of the sky and land on my ottoman right now. All right, but so that is not how that works. Are we made in the likeness, image of Christ? Yes. Can we love like God? Somewhat. Can we be jealous like God? Somewhat. But our hearts ultimately is supposed to belong to God. He wants our hearts to belong to Him. So even when we're suffering through things, He wants us to turn to Him. All right. Spiritual warfare. There's a spiritual dimension behind all these earthly events. So Job had no idea that he was going that God that Satan went to God and made this bet, so to speak, and God was like, "Go ahead, because I know my servants. I knew you before you was in the womb." He knew Job. He knew how Job would move. Right? He knew all these things, and that's why when Job started being a little righteous, he had to come down and check him. Right? Hope in the Redeemer. Job, the declaration for a future redemption. So Job knew that he would be redeemed. So even though Job started like saying that he was righteous in his mind and his faithfulness, he also knew that he needed a redeemer. He needed to be redeemed by God, right? He needed God in those moments, right? So this book teaches us about righteous people can suffer. Just because you see somebody doing good, living good, and they have everything, and you don't see them doing anything bad, doesn't mean that God won't have them suffer for certain reasons. What are those reasons? We don't know. Why don't we know? Because God is sovereign. We're not. Just plain and simple. God is sovereign. We're not. The more we try to figure things out and do it on our own, the more suffering we might have to do. Because God is going to want you to let you know who's in charge. He's the big boss. All right. God purposes sometimes beyond human comprehension. Sometimes we don't know what's going on. Well, sometimes we don't know the reason why things are going on in the world. We question things, and it's okay to question things. It's okay to pray about things. Okay to question things, pray about things, and question God about things. Why? And I know we was everybody, grandma's mama. Not dang, I don't went over my time, but everybody, grandma's mama probably was like, "Hey, don't question God," but God wants you to question Him because He wants you to come to Him. So question God is fine. All right. And true faith, trust God without requiring an explanation. Now, just because you go to God, don't mean that you're going to get an explanation, but He'll hear you. You pray to God, He will hear you. All right. And you might not get the answer in the way that you want it. Like the old folks say, He might not always be there when you want to, but He's always on time. So you might not get the answer that you want. You might not get it in the way that you want. All right. But one thing that we cannot do as humans is we cannot go against God's plan for us. All right. If He has a plan for us, you got to see it through. Now, do those plans go a bunch of different ways? I'm sure. I don't know because I'm not God, but I'm sure. But what we do know is that God is sovereign, and however His plan goes, He's going to get His glory. So, true faith remains even when life no longer makes sense. So, make sure you stay faithful, make sure you stay honest, and make sure you continue to pray. Ask God to search your heart. If you have questions of why things are happening, go to God. Go to God when you're happy. Go to God when you're sad. Go to God when you're frustrated. Go to God when you're mad. Don't go to social media. Don't go to your friends. Go to God first. And then if you want to do it on social media, you want to talk to your friends, then go to social media and talk to your friends. But always go to God first. Always lay at His altar and give Him the chance to redeem or reveal whatever plans that He has for you to you. And like I said, it might not be come as you want to. All right, because the hearts of man is the most deceitful thing is the hearts of man. So our desires might not be the way that He needs us to get things done for His glory, but He's going to get it done for us. All right, His grace is sufficient for us. So, with that being said, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do next week, but I'm gonna try to do next week. If not, I'll definitely be back the week after that. But I have some traveling to do. I am going to try to take everything with me so I can try to do next week's Bible study. So, and yeah, I travel on Friday. I'm excited about that. So, hope to see y'all next time. Don't forget to tell your friends to come subscribe. I'm still trying to get the 50 subscribers. I know that sounds crazy because I've been doing this for weeks. That way I don't have to use a third party. So we can just do these things on YouTube on the YouTube channel. All right. So love y'all. See y'all next time. Peace. Peace.